Hello again, I'm Jill with the Sewing List, and this is my second video where I check something off of my list of things that I want to learn how to sew. That is Lottie. Lottie makes a lot of appearances, especially once I start talking. I'll probably post a video every couple of weeks at this point as I get better at editing and filming. Today I'm going to be recovering 2 throw pillows that go on my bed. Last year I covered them with this pattern that I quilted and then machine quilted. And I did this with an open envelope style back. And what's new today is that I'm going to put a zipper in the back. When I put these pillows in, these are 18-inch pillows, when I put them in, they came together, the envelope came together, but it was really close. And then sometimes it would gape open, and that wasn't the look that I wanted. So I'm gonna go for trying to put a zipper in today. I have installed zippers before, but not on the back of a pillow like this. I've put them on the tops of bags and things, so it should be what I already know. So on my list today is the Irish chain only in 1.5 inch strips and a zippered back to a pillow. I'm making this pillow at 1.5 inches instead of the 2.5 inch jelly roll strip because I want it to be much smaller, especially so that I can get a full set of pattern across the distance of the pillow. I would like it to be 5 blocks across of the Irish chain pattern. I'm hoping for that. We'll see. I'm going to use this pink and green cotton that I got actually at an estate sale last summer. I don't know who made it. It doesn't have a printed selvage on it. And I'm gonna cut it at 1.5 inches. And then I'm also gonna cut a light pink. This light pink I buy by the bolt because, like I said in a previous video, I make bags. And so I use solid colors for my bag linings. This is a Kona solid and it is pearl pink. It is very light pink. It almost looks white. This fabric is measuring at 22.5 inches folded, so 45 inches in length unfolded. And when I sew all my strips together that are 1.5 inch wide, I will have 45 inch, give or take a little bit, 45 inch strips long by 1.5 inch times 3 sewn together plus the inseams. So we will measure that once I get them sewn, and then that will also tell us how wide our blocks that are the center solid colors need to be after we sew. This is going to be the most basic look today. That is the look that I'm going for, but if you Google Irish chain images or Pinterest them, I'm not going to show you pictures of somebody else's because I don't want to infringe somebody's copyrights, but this is the basic pattern structure of the Irish chain. You need twice as many of this particular pattern than you do the opposite, which the opposite looks like this, has this sewn together already. This has the lighter color, the middle color, the darker color, and then the lighter color again. And then we're gonna cut these into strips. So I'm gonna sew this set together and come back and cut them up. Inch strips sewn together to create these long 44 inch, 45 inch strips. I'm going to flip them over to the back and I'm going to press to the darker colors. This is the center, so I'm going to push all of that down, and then the same for this one. This one goes outward this way toward the dark side. I will flip them over and press them again, because sometimes you get a pinch right here. So I'm going to flip them over and press and sort of untuck them a little bit from that, but it keeps them flat on the bottom side. So I just go back and forth and press all of those creases out that may have been put in there. The first thing I'm going to do is trim off the end that doesn't match up. So I'm going to pick the shortest piece, put that up on a line, or if you have a bit of selvage that needs to be trimmed off because you don't want that in your finished project. So I'm going to cut that away, and then I'm going to cut each of these into 1.5 inches. I nested my seams, and I'm still going to pin them because I want nice clean joins. And I'm going to sew at a 1/4 inch or scant 1/4 inch on my machine, but that's what I'm using. Finish squared up blocks are really measuring at about 3 5/8. I'm going to measure a few of them just to double check. Yeah, they're right at about 3 5/8. I'm going to cut 3 5/8 of this. 1, 2, 3.5, 3 5/8. Sometimes I take a pencil or a piece of chalk and I just mark my mat. Together and create the tiny quilt top, which will become my pillow. Alright, so I've measured this length and width, and it's not quite what I need. I need at least 17.5. So, but this is what I wanted the final quilt top to look like, or pillow top to look like. So I've got 5 across and 5 this way, and that is exactly how I wanted it to end. So my solution is that I'm going to take some 1-inch strips of leftover cuttings that I had, and I'm going to just border it, just put some sashing around the border to give me that extra width and length that I'm going to need to actually cover my pillow. We're at 17.5, which will do just fine. I am going to line the inside of the pillow, so it's going to go quilt top, batting, lining, and then the backing, which is where I'll install the zipper. But I'm going to use just an inexpensive white on white fabric. It's really thin. This is definitely a scrap batting project. All right, I stitched in the ditch just in one direction. I don't want it to pucker, which it started to when I went this way, so I'm just gonna leave it. This is not gonna get heavy use, it's just a decorative pillowcase. So I'm not gonna put a ton of top stitching on it because it doesn't really need it. Okay, zipper's installed. It's top stitched down. I'm going to leave these tabs out and cut them out in a minute. So this is now the back of our pillow cover. And here is our front. And you'll notice that it's a little bit bigger. I just wanted to have it a little bit bigger. I'll just trim it after I'm done stitching it together. So I want to put right sides together. I'm going to put the zipper on the inside. Scoot that in, and then we're going to go around the outside of the white at 1/4 inch all the way around, and then I'll come back and trim all of the excess off, including this zipper tape. This is a definite yes. I love the simplicity of this block, but it's so beautiful at the same time. And the back, the zipper is an absolute yes. Super easy to install, and it just has a nice clean finish on the back that I like so much more than the open tab that I had on the previous pillow, that one back there. I'm gonna finish the second one and put these on my bed. Thanks for coming.